What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jarod, your girl Gabby. We're back, episode 22. We definitely need to get the actual sound effect and stop doing it like the bootleg way. But there is something actually. I was gonna say there's something actually very fun about just yelling.
It's surprisingly fun. Let me do it again.
Yes, now that we alienate everyone who listens to this podcast, you're like, can they please stop doing that? That is so annoying.
I mean, I feel like I have to make up for lost time because you couldn't hear me for the first 2 minutes. This is what happens when we record at home, guys. Sometimes we have technical issues that we cannot work around no matter what we do. So we're making it up for today.
Oh, yeah, so we're going to be extra loud. But yes, episode 22, lots to get to today. We do have a special guest from the world of sport and entertainment, maybe I'll say. He's an interesting character, so looking forward to having him on. But Gabby, let's jump right into some sort of first, God, how could I forget? How are you doing today?
I was going to say, I was ready to ask you since you called me up last time. I'm doing well, I started running again. I've got the endorphins working for me.
With or without ankle weights?
I don't run an ankle weight, Rod. Okay. Let's get it. I'm going to set the record straight, everybody, okay? Your girl loves ankle weights. Your girl loves bike shorts. Your girl loves bike shorts with ankle weights and ankle weights with bike shorts, but not for running.
You got it.
That's where I draw the line, just because
it's a lot.
I'm trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
I need all the help that I can get. I don't need extra weight slowing me down, because I will say, even though they're 2.5 pounds per ankle,
yeah,
that adds up. Especially when I've got tiny feet for my stature, so already it's hard enough for me to lift those baby toes. I just need all the help I can get. Sometimes I'll wear my sweat belt. I love a good sweat belt.
Okay.
Got to tone up in the midsection,
All right.
But yeah, so no ankle weights for me. I actually have to dust them off. I haven't worn them in a minute, and it's kind of tragic.
I was going to say, so if it's a walking day, you're going to put on the ankle weights. But if it's a running day, no ankle weights.
Correct. Ankle weights, bike shorts, my little running belt fanny pack situation, and a podcast. That, to me, is the ideal walking scenario if I'm walking by myself.
Yes, folks, it is 1985 on this podcast, in case you didn't know.
They saw podcasts in the 80s, okay? So I'm keeping it fresh and funky. How are you doing, Jarod?
Wow, look at that. Turn the tables. Good. I oddly can't believe that it's like October, basically. It's end of September, early October. It's wild. 2020 wild, as people who know Gabby. Well, I was going to get into something else, but let me leave that alone. As just people who know Gabby are want to comment that she, pronounces every syllable of certain words, like wild.
Say it. Am I wrong? Did I stutter?
I will say 2020 has been, yes, wild. Obviously, right, with everything, just the pandemic, racial unrest. Racial unrest has been going on since 1619, by the way, so that ain't new. But it's just been quite a year, right? And I think we're living. If you are a religious person, you might think that these are what many religions called end times.
The rapture.
Yeah, the rapture, right? Like all of these things that signify like the end is nigh. It's been something, but I have to say I'm healthy, doing well, can't complain too much. So I'm happy about that, but thank you for checking in on me. It's much appreciated.
Of course. I think it's funny that you mentioned the doomsday rapture, because I don't know if you've seen yet. I haven't seen it in person, but in Union Square, the iconic the clock, that's like the world clock, the installation that's on the south side of the park. They've now converted it to a doomsday clock.
Oh.
Basically, the amount of time that we have to fix climate change, otherwise it's irreversible. So.
And how much time do we have?
We have 7 years and change.
That's not very long.
Right. So thank you, New York Times, for putting additional fear into all of us New Yorkers, because we haven't had enough of it.
So you're going to have either one of two things, right? Because everyone's extremes and nobody knows how to live within like nuance and confines. So you're going to have people who either go way to one side that are like, okay, here's everything we need to do to make it better and make the world a better place. And then the other people are like, we're all going to die anyway, so F it. I'm just going to continue to be selfish and do me and wild out. So that's kind of what we're going to have going on.
I can't wait to see what happens when there's like less than a year left, when that thing gets close. Like, people are going to be wilding in these streets like the plane is going down, I can't wait to see it. I mean, I hope that we are proactive and take the appropriate measures to protect our planet and to protect each other and be safe. Of course.
But
that goes without saying. But New York is a city full of interesting characters and not boring individuals, and those streets going to be wildin'.
Speaking of interesting characters and not boring individuals, let's start with Nelly and his Dancing with the Stars appearance. More specifically, what he had on his feet.
Oh.
Air Jordan 3s, which, as you know, and I know for you, 3s are my favorite silhouette. I know they're one of yours, not your favorite, but they're one of your favorite Jordan silhouettes.
Correct. They look different with the heel, let me tell you. I mean, they're giving the Nike sky-high dunks with the wedge a run for their money, or maybe a cha-cha for their money in those shoes. But I think it's a vibe. I like that Jordan is getting funky fresh with the application of their iconic prints and styles. I know we've talked about the golf shoes before, having that. I mean, there's been tennis shoes that have had the elephant print as well. So now we've moved into an entirely new genre. I've never seen Air Jordan dancing shoes. So props to Nelly for doing that. I mean, it was hot in there.
I was like, when's the pun? I was like, when's the pun gonna come? I was like, I know she cannot escape without a pun.
It's like a nervous tick. I feel something inside of me. I cannot help it. This was not pre-scripted.
We know that.
As we go, I'm like rolling with the homies over here.
Oh wow! Shout out to Clueless. Would you wear an Air Jordan 3 silhouette with a heel?
That's a very interesting question.
you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not often that I get stopped in my tracks like this.
You're like, I don't know.
That's a style of dancing shoe that I think if I really got into competitive dance, would I like it to be a Jordan? Absolutely. For my current lifestyle as it stands, I don't think the neighbors below would appreciate me running around the house in some Air Jordans with heels. But what about you, Jarod? Are you going to take those out for a spin on the town?
No, not me. However, we do know that when Jordan brand, particularly when they make their shoes, performance is their first. That's number one on the list, and then they do everything based on that from there. I've always said, how you women manage to do things in heels is just beyond me. Just forget about a Nike. It doesn't matter. Just a regular high heel shoe, the narrow front and that little skinny ass thing in the back holding up your heel. Like how you're able to do walk, period, let alone dance and do that. That's sorcery. I am amazed how you're able to do things in that. So kudos to all the women everywhere for being able to manage anything in heels.
Oh, thank you. I always think of the meme of Rihanna when she's walking across, like, I don't know if it's a subway grate in the tallest, skinniest heels you've ever seen, and somehow just peruses her way across unscathed.
Like it's all
if
good.
there is one hole in the street and I'm wearing the thickest heel that ever existed, my heel is finding that hole and I'm going down. Big tree fall hard, you know? So
big tree fall.
We're going to put a picture of this Rihanna meme just so you guys can see what we're talking about here.
No, I mean, well, it's also Ree.
It's an art.
She's quite phenomenal at many things. Listen, you just get Clueless and Wedding Crashers in all the same. You know, you're on a roll today. I like it. I like where we're headed. Speaking of shoes and fancy things, Adidas has a collaboration with Swarovski, the famed glass crystal company.
Go ahead.
Well, first, so they in August they pushed a Stan Smith with crystals. They did a Rival Reload, the basketball shoe with crystals, and now they have the Superstar platform with crystals.
And the regular Superstar.
Yes, and the regular Superstar. For me, I mean, crystals are not for me, so I'm good. I just aesthetically, the Sam Smiths or Stan Smiths, excuse me, Sam Smith. There's a name for the best. The Stan Smiths. I like the crystals on the back on the green heel. That's kind of cool. But the Superstars, you and I talked about this. I don't know, man. Like they look kind of like. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I want to bust out in a Sam Smith lyric right now. You say I'm crazy. I mean, you say that to me all the time, but
I do call you crazy all the time, literally.
I take that as the most endearing compliment because, folks, as you can tell, we are not boring on the show. But shouts to Stan Smith. We actually talked about him on our most recent Kicks and Conversations Live, because a lot of people don't know that he was a tennis legend, and he's a real human. But the Stan Smith shoe kind of opened up the mainstream, especially the fashion world, into sneakers. I mean, it's a very different kind of silhouette than a Jordan, obviously, but it's light, it's cute, it's good for men, it's good for women.
I mean, I love Stan Smith. That's my summer. You know what? I like Lowe's in the summer, so that's my shoe of choice almost always.
Well, and I respect that. I mean, usually, you know me, I don't like sneakers that are too white.
Yes, correct.
So I actually, since I've dove into the collection of the Swarovski crystals, the Stan Smith is my favorite out of all of them because it's subtle, but it gives a nice little pop. I had to do a double take, actually, looking to see where the detailing was. Otherwise, I mean, you guys know, I rock Superstar all the time. That's my favorite casual under 100 shoe. I mean, it's a staple with every outfit. Sorry, Adidas. These are just not my fave. Like the bolds look like I could have bedazzled it at home, and I went to Michael's and I got some charms for the laces. And I just, I love the way when Nike did the 97s, the Air Max 97s with the Swarovski crystals. It just felt special. It made a statement. It didn't take away from the original silhouette, which I thought was really beautiful, but it came in the gold and silver colors. But it just popped. And like, there's a reason that the resale on those is still strong, not just because of Swarovski, but if I'm going to be paying almost double the price of what I'd pay for
regular
a superstar, I want it to feel special. And I can't put my finger on it, and what they would do differently, I'm not sure, but there's something missing that doesn't feel special to me. It just takes away from the iconic nature of the shoe. The one exception is maybe the Stan Smith, because for me it gives me that extra oomph that I felt like I was personally missing before.
The Stan Smith, the Swarovski on the Stan Smith is subtle, right? On the Superstar, I mean, you said it. It looks like something you make at summer camp. Like, it just, and again, I'm not. If you like it and you want to get it. For me personally, I'm just like, it looks like like you force something, you know? It's like, all right, we got to put some crystals here, and it's like, no, it doesn't look great on the front of that shoe.
And I find the timing to be a bit strange, right? With everything going on, I know there's so many collabs, and I just, you know me, I'm all about the why.
Yeah, why are we doing this?
Why are we doing something like this? And this has been the year of the collabs and the year of classic silhouettes being remixed. So I'm into it. I'm here for it. But I don't know. It just feels like it's lacking inspiration, and I expect more from Adidas because the way that they've elevated the Superstar and the Stan Smith, whether it's been through collaborations, through unique colorways, I think they've done a really great job with that, where if you don't love it in all white, like maybe there's a zigzag, or maybe there's a different color, or maybe there's different details and platforms and change in material, or we're going to add in an animal print. Like, the versatility on that shoe, I think, is amazing. And Adidas has done a great job with that, but these just fall flat for me. And
I agree.
Yeah, diamonds aren't always a girl's best friend.
And shit, these ain't even real diamonds. They just they glass. And that's the thing, right? That's because the Superstar and the Stan Smiths are such classic silhouettes. And you can, if you collab and do them right with the right inspiration, you could really make an already awesome classic shoe even better. And it just feels like they just said, all right, let's just do with Swarovski real quick and throw some things on there. All right, cool. And it was like, nah.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be a nah for me. I mean, if it's going to be a nah or a yay, let's talk about yay in Adidas.
Well, listen, your man... look,
my man.
Well, I mean, true.
I'm a Judashian, not a Kardashian. He's not my man. Okay, that's straight.
I mean, look, people who follow me and follow my other work know how I feel about Kanye, the musician and the artist, right? Like, I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is the greatest album of the last 25 years. Like, it is sonically, production wise, the story that it tells, the arc that it goes on, it's phenomenal. But moving that aside, Kanye has been struggling of late, right? With a variety of things. You know, he said, I saw him tweet the other day, I'm only wearing Jordans until Adidas puts me on the board or something.
On the board, yes. It was on the board.
And it's like, bro, okay, I feel you asserting your power. One, cool. That way of like demanding it probably ain't gonna work and get the right answer you seek. But okay, he clearly and I don't want to play dime store psychiatrist or psychologist. clearly he's going through some things, like, and has been for a while, and
agreed.
Needs to figure out whatever that is. And look, like, we're advocates on it on this show. Therapy and seeking help, like, there's nothing weak about that. Like we all need help to get by. It's crazy out here in these streets.
Yep.
Like, and add on top of that being famous and uber rich, and like, it's gonna mess you up. But anyway, you know, the whole, like, I'm gonna wear this and not do this until Adidas does X, Y, and Z. And then, you know, we talked about some of the Adidas designs he's done lately, particularly those like croc looking. I'm like, I don't even know what those things are.
They look like a diaphragm, if we're being honest. I mean, it's a vibe.
Not a vibe I want to rock.
The D Rose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Not my bag, but that's okay. Not everything is my bag. I think some of the Yeezys that have come out more recently that looked a little weird in the photos look much better in person. So shouts to that. But I mean, first he fell into the Gap, and now he's about to fall his way out of Adidas if he keeps talking like that. I don't know. I agree with you. Mental health should be priority, and hope everything's okay with Kanye and his mentals.
Well,
but
clearly not.
he's got to protect his chicken, you know, to quote the great poet Marshawn Lynch.
Shout out
to y'all mentals. Protect y'all chicken.
Shout out to Beast Mode. No, yeah, Kanye. You know, again, the part that makes it for me, I don't want to use the word sad, but makes it like concerning is that the art that he brings to the world from a musical standpoint is so good. It's just like, man, but that's me being selfish, right? Like, pictures also so I can get more art. Like, it's not about us and what we get from that, right? So, my man, hopefully you figure out what you're doing. You know, if you fell into the Gap, hopefully you don't fall out of Adidas and fall out of everything, and then, you know, then who knows? Then we start a real downward spiral. So, wishing him the best.
I do have a question, though, because I know we're getting ready to wrap because I'm so excited about our guest that's coming up as well. Mm-hmm. But if Yeezus were to walk, see what I did there?
Dude, like, your puns drop like bricks. Like, they're just like...
What would you want to see him walk in? Like, what kind of Jordan do you want to see him do? Because he can't go back to the original Yeezys.
No, he can't. See, that's the thing. I don't know that I want him to necessarily get a classic silhouette for him to remake it, because his brain, like, Kanye doesn't work that way. Like, you know that he has to do his own, like, outlandish off the wall thing. And so I kind of want him to go into his bag and do his own performance art thing. Now, look, the reality with that is we might get some whack shit. Okay. Like, it might be real whack. That's just, that could happen. But I think I'd almost rather see him do that than, like, tarnish, like, an 11 or a 3, or a 7, or a...
Okay.
What if you give him a new... Well, and actually, speaking of Jordan Brand, and we'll do this at a separate run of this episode. You know, the 34 model that came out, I really liked that because it kind of was like a nod to a little bit old school. And the AJ35, I was so lucky enough to preview it, and we will be previewing it on this show as a bonus feature a little bit later. If they gave him like one of the later models, like the 34, even though I love that model a lot, having to do something with that might be interesting. But any of like the classics that are like sort of like in the vault, I don't know.
I don't know though. I mean, crack is whack, but it's also a hell of a drug. So are Yeezys for a lot of that hypebeast culture. So I'm ready to see where this goes. I mean, this is like, can't even think of what this compares to. This is the most exciting thing I've been following on Twitter for months. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. As we mentioned, don't go away. We'll be back with a special guest in just a moment. Peace. What's up, guys? We're back, and as we said, we are not alone. We are joined by Jason Negron. Now, Jason is someone Gabby connected me with. He's an in-arena host. He does stuff with NBA 2K. He likes sneakers. You are a man of the culture, maybe we'll say, right? Like,
I like that.
All right.
I like that.
Thanks for joining us, man.
And a man of the culture.
I like it.
Man of the people. I just like doing stuff I enjoy, getting paid for it, keeping a low profile, and just spreading the love. It's the Brooklyn way.
Yeah, spread love is the Brooklyn way. You know, it's interesting what you just said. That is what we all do, right? Like, and what hopefully I hope most people will want to aspire to, right? Is if you're fortunate enough to get paid to do what you actually like and love doing, I mean, that's the greatest thing ever. I mean,
It's a blessing. I got my start. I got an opportunity. You guys should remember it. I don't know how much of the audience is familiar with First N1, the apparel brand. And they had a basketball tour with street ball.
No doubt.
So I got on in 2005. I got an opportunity to work for no, they're still around, but they're not as, they don't run as many commercials, but it's the Truth campaign. And it was a smoking prevention campaign. And like, I despise cigarettes. So, getting that job, first and foremost, the application process was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever been through. It was cutting edge at the time, and the company that did it, shouts to GTM, I think they're still around. They made us feel like family. Anyway, so I got to pick. They're like, all right, we're gonna hire you. You're very dope. I rapped at the time, so that I would host a couple of shows, like poetry slams, MC battles, talent shows, stuff at my college, and stuff around New York. They're like, hey, so we have two things. We have the Vans Warped Tour, which is dope. I'm more of a hip hop guy. I love rap. Or the N1 Streetball Tour, and I'm like,
yep.
Yeah,
that's the one for me. That's the one for me. And I did that tour for 3 months. I think the first summer was 30 cities in 3 months.
Wow.
And I came back home and I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And this summer was my 15th year.
Wow.
Anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that story is incredible, though, right? Like, to be able to... Well, first, what is your rap moniker?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer.
Hey, man, I went through a few. My first ever was Remedy.
Okay.
But, now this is in the 90s, late 90s, where, news didn't spread as fast as it did now.
Right.
I had to really wait. The blogs weren't really out like that. The sites weren't out. So, I had to read the magazines. And big Wu head still. Like, I'm a Wu baby.
Okay.
They changed my life. Their first album just changed my perspective on everything.
Shouts to Shaolin.
Shaolin! I got family there, so, Yeah, so it was Remedy, but then, a person from the Wu came out with Remedy. So I was like, damn, man, it's Wu-Tang, and he has the same name as me. And, like he's a Jewish dude. And I'm like, oh, man. I shouts to him, yeah. Shouts to the Jewish massive. And I was like, man, I'm Puerto Rican and Italian, but, I'm white. My skin's white. So I was like, nah, I can't do that, man. That's going to be biting. We had different morals back then. So I was like, man, I got to change my name. So I went, unannounced for a while. And then, my homie was like, man, you're crazy, you're ill. I was very unorthodox. I kind of always looked to, make people's jaws drop and say something that was a little controversial. And they're like, man, your hands sweat a lot, but you should go with sweaty palms. I was like, you know what? I was like, I think I'm gonna roll with that. I rolled that for a while. It was like a love-hate relationship. People loved it. People hated it, but they always remembered it. I remember I went to an MTV battle and Sway was there.
Yeah.
And then I ended up linking with him years after, and he remembered me. He's like, yeah, blah, blah, yeah, I used to go by Sweaty Palms. Like, Sweaty Palms, oh my God, I remember that. So, whatever. But yeah, that was my rap moniker. And then I kind of stopped. It was the point where I was rapping heavy. I was a very good rapper. I didn't really make great songs. I think if the climate was how it is now back then, it would have been very different. You had, a lot of these artists have more range to do what they like. But so then I was hosting. That's how I learned how to host from rapping and freestyle. So I learned how to host, and then also I was involved in my college's student government. I went to BMCC, and then they had a CUNY student government, which was the University Student Senate. And then I really got involved with that heavily, and I was embedded deeply into New York state and city politics. and rap kind of took a back seat to everything.
That's a hell of a journey, man.
Yeah, man. Definitely lots of ebbs and flows, ups and downs. People like, hey, so, what are we gonna do? You're about to graduate. Are you gonna continue your studies? What are you gonna do? I was like, man, I just know how to speak to people. I'm gonna figure it out. And I stuck with it. I had multiple kind of jobs, a few jobs I got, and I just didn't show up for, like a jerk. I can't believe I did that.
Your palms were too sweaty.
Too sweaty. I was nervous, but just like the office setting wasn't for me. So like, I was young and immature at the time though. So instead of like doing the right thing, like, hey, I don't think it's gonna work, I just didn't show up. But I've learned a lot since then.
We don't advocate that, kids at home, but we understand that, right? That sort of the growing pains. But the other thing too that I think is so interesting, and I know Gabby's going to jump in here in a second. I love the fact that your whole point was, I know what I can do. I can talk to people and I can communicate. I'm just going to figure out how to do that, right? Like, and so self-awareness is so key. And like, I often mentor kids who are in college and talk to them. And it's like, oh man, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, I never want to discourage or whatever. Okay, have that as your goal. But my guy or my girl, understand what your skills are and what you are good at. All right. And once you understand what that is, how does that skill set fit into this passion of mine of sports, music, entertainment, whatever it is, accounting, it doesn't matter. What is it that can I fit it into this career? And I think, when you're a communicator like you are, like we are, right? Like you can use that in a variety of different ways. And that's one of those soft skills, right? It isn't engineering or one of those hard things where you learn, all right, got to figure out my calculus and this and this. You either got that or you don't got that, right? Like it just is that, and that's one of those soft skills that. But when you go on an interview and you talk to somebody, they're like, I can't teach that, but I want it, right? And so
it's funny that you say that, because I had a while I was in college, I went to a community board meeting for a street renaming, and the guy I went with, he took up all of our talking time, so I had a minute, and I made the most of that minute. And at the end, one of the dudes who I met walking in there, he offered me an internship. It was a commercial real estate internship. And I was like, man, this is perfect. This is kind of right when I was going on my second tour, before I found out they wanted me to come back. And, I had an interview set up, and I went to the office and I spoke to like 2-3 people before I spoke to the managing partner or the boss, whatever his title was. So I'm talking, I feel like I'm rambling, and, he stopped me about 5 minutes into the interview. He's like, what are you doing here? And I'm shocked. And I'm like, I'm here for the internship. He's like, nah, man, you're not an office guy. He said, you could be a broker, though. I'm opening a place in Brooklyn, and you would be great for it. Come here, do the internship, and then once we're ready, we'll have you out there. But, I went back on tour, and then when I came back, I was like, hey, man, I'm just going to push the envelope and see where I can land. And I regretted the decision for a long time, because I was like, man, because after I came back from tour the second year, I was making good money at that age. I was like 22, 23. I was making like $1,000 a week. I was like, geez, I was the man. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. And this was MySpace was around. Facebook was, I don't even think was around yet.
Yeah.
And it was just everything. But then I got a slap in the face. I had to start back from zero, where I would, opportunities weren't available. I was hosting shows, like rap shows that had pretty solid headliners, but I get paid like $50 a show, So I was like, man, I was regretting it for years. And then I got to a point where, my full time, like I didn't have to do brand ambassador or event management anymore. I could just be a full-time host. And I was like, I made the right decision.
All right. Well, I know you and I have talked about this in terms of sneakers. So, Jarod, as you know, and for those listening and watching, Jason and I know each other through MSG in the magical world that is the world's most famous arena. But we also have a common interest for sneakers. So I know you've talked to me about this, but tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about some of the brand ambassador work that you did as it relates to sneakers, and kind of how that brought you more into the culture, and eventually how that connected you with the jobs that you have at the Garden.
Yeah. So, well, I've been at the Garden since '09, and that summer I got my first opportunity. Shouts to my man Mel Peralta. He had a brand at the time. Funny, ironically, he's now at Foot Locker's Innovation Hub, Greenhouse. I would like to connect y'all with him because he got a good story. He needs to be on here.
That.
He's kind of like he's an OG, but he doesn't want OG status. He's too humble. Anyway, he hooked me up. He was like, "Hey man, my buddy's managing this huge Nike campaign. It was Nike, Jordan, Converse for the World Basketball Festival. That's happened in 2010. I think they do it every 4 years or so, or 2 years. It's evolved around the Olympics and I believe the Pan Am Games.
Yep.
Okay.
Just like, hey, this is dope opportunity. I think you're the guy for it. So I met with everybody. They're like, hey man, you're dope. You check all the boxes, whatever. There were 2 mobile units. So we had this tricked out like double-decker bus that was a customization station where people could come in and get various graphics and put them on T-shirts and some other items. And we had shoes on display. We didn't sell any. They had a pop-up shop somewhere uptown, but we would travel like to Soho in different areas and just pull up. Kind of the first of its kind. And there was another truck. There was a smaller ice cream type of truck, and my girl Isis, shouts to her, and she moved on to do crazy stuff. So I'm gonna get back to Isis too, because she gave me another alley-oop. So I did the whole summer with them, and it was a great experience. A few roadblocks, but we jumped through them, and it was with a company called, I forget the name at the time, but that company later shifted and morphed into Game 7, which shouts to Justin, man. He's looked out throughout my entire career. So that paused for a bit. I mean, that campaign was over. I just was back at the Garden. I was doing stuff at Citi Field. And then Isis called me again out of the blue, like, hey, Jay, man, there's this opportunity that my friends in Chicago, they're looking for some brand ambassadors for Jordan. And I'm like, oh.
You're like, hold up.
I'm definitely interested. So, I'm down. I'm down for any opportunity. So, I got a call that led to an interview. But on the call, my boy Reef, shouts to Sharif from Chicago, he's the guy. Like, he's big polo, big sneaker guy. He was like, man, we want you to come by. Let's say it was 4:00, and I had a Liberty event that day. It was in Newark Airport. Yeah, it was just Maddie and I. We were going around the airport having fun. And it was a cool event. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can make it. He was like, yo, you need to make it. You need to make it happen. I was like, all right, cool. I made it there. I think I was communicating. I was like, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. They're like, cool. I was the last person to interview. And I got a call like a week later, like, hey, we want you to be on board. It's called the Jordan Brand Flight Ambassador. There were 4 ambassadors in New York, 3 in Chicago, and our roles were, product specialists for the performance stuff. So that's, at the time it was Mello, Chris Paul, D Wade, Blake Griffin. So we didn't deal with the retros, which is the sexier option of the two, but it was great, and that's where I really learned about an actual sneaker. That's where I learned about the tech, why different materials make you perform in a different way, and it was super informative. They brought us out to Portland. They had us stay in the nines. It was so fly. And then they had us in Beaverton. They brought us to campus. They gave us a tour.
Shouts to Nike and Jordan Brand.
Shouts to them, man. I miss those Memphis packages. If you get a package and it says Memphis.
Oh, trust me, I know what that means.
I don't, but
hey, soon to come.
Yeah.
Soon to come.
Oh, man.
Listen, you guys are killing it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No, but that campus is dope. I'm glad you go ahead, continue that. I'm glad you talked about that.
It's just a surreal experience, and yet again, this was 2012, maybe 13. I don't know, probably 2012. Instagram wasn't around, I don't think. Maybe we could just do pictures.
Yeah.
The crazy filters of like.
Yeah, 2012.
Artsy.
I don't think there was Instagram. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just starting. Like, you know, I didn't document this. I didn't document any of this, you know. But I'll tell you one thing about Jordan Brand. They made us feel like family. They really did. And, you know, I was an ambassador for about 3 years before the program dissolved and they moved it to something else, which, you know, I just wasn't interested in. But so we would go to various events. We would host our own like runs and we would go to like LA, wherever the premier athlete was from. So Chris Paul was in LA at the time. D-Wade was in Miami. We had Melo in New York, and it was like perfect for me.
Listen, those aren't 3 bad cities to set up shop in, right? Like, I mean,
come on, forget about it. Like, it was a great time, and I remember one All-Star. It was in Orlando, and they were like, I forget which Air Jordan it was. I think it was the one with the sock came out. I think it was like AJ 2012, maybe. I think that's what it was called. Oh yeah, that one. AJ 2012. I had a little hoop. Maybe I can show y'all later. I have a little hoop. But AJ 2012 came out, and they had a setup. We were doing the tech explanation. You know, people were, you know, they want to find out about the bounce. Oh man, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember what it was. And they had an outside activation, and they had some dude on the mic, but apparently like he was terrible. So they were trying to get my people, like the flight ambassadors, like, hey man, can you get on this mic and like do something? And they're like, nah, not me. And then my man Cash, shout to Cash, the Chief Pratt, he is about to be, I think he's already licensed to be I'm blanking out right now. Not a scout.
Agent?
An agent. He's gonna be the guy. Shouts to Cash. He knows all the ballers. He's gonna be that guy. So shouts to him. But Cash is like, oh yeah, Jay is nice on the mic. They walk in, they hand me the mic.
And you're like, what?
I'm like, oh, word? Okay. I went outside, crushed it. So the rest of All-Star, they were like, all right. So the rest of the crew had to go to do these runs. They're like, Jay, we're gonna have you go to the in-stores. We're gonna have you talk to the crowd before, you know, the talent comes. So it was DJ Khaled, and like, you know, he would interview D-Wade and Jada Kiss and this, that, and the third. So it got to the point where, you know, they were running late. I had to hop in. So I hop in, I killed it. The brand was ecstatic. And that led to multiple events. Then, you know, next thing I know, my flight ambassador job ended. I would still get hired now. Now I'm just going out to host. I'm hosting the All-Stars. I'm hosting pop-up stores, Jordan Brand Classic events. So moral of that story is, man, seize any opportunity you get, you know, run with it, because you never know what can happen.
And it's those transferable skills that we were talking about too, right? It's like, if there's something that you know you're good at and you know that you're capable of, to your point, take a chance, get out there. I mean, and we work together on countless Knicks and Rangers events and Liberty events, and it's a beautiful thing watching people do their thing, let me tell you.
It is, you know, and it's a blessing. I don't take it for granted. I love it, you know, and if I could give any advice to anybody up and coming, respect the art, respect the craft, put the time in, you know, you treat it right, it will treat you well in return.
You know, it's so funny that you say that, Jason, because obviously in this field that we're all creatives and right content creators and things of that nature. It's much like the sneaker community in the sense that like how you get on and get your next thing is from the community, right? Like that's how this works. It isn't like, all right, I go to content creator school and I get my degree and then we all went to college and got our degrees, but that ain't how you make it in this business, right? Like you gotta just like you said, oh, I did the flight ambassador thing, which I didn't even was gonna do because I had this other event, but they said, nah, you gotta go, and then I meet this person. It's the networking and it's the community, and that's how you in this creative space, because it isn't They don't sit somewhere and go, okay, we need to hire Jason Negron to do. That's not. It doesn't work that way. It's you just hear. Oh yeah. We got to get this guy, and a guy calls their man, and their man calls their girl, and then next thing you know, you're on a plane to Miami hosting whatever. Right? That's
it. It's surreal how it happens. It just things can happen out of nowhere, and I don't use my degree.
Right.
I haven't used my degree for anything, and I've learned more doing what I did in college, being student government president, being around with the people, meeting people than I did in any classroom. Not saying it's not important.
Right.
Knowledge is key, but real life skills, those intangibles, you can't.
It's the practical, right? And something you said too about putting in the time and the craft. I don't know if you saw this, but it's made its way around the internet. After Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Eric Spoelstra was asked a question about Tyler Hero. He had a great game, 30-something points, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, people overestimate what you can do in one day, and they underestimate what you can do in the months and months of grinding and putting in the work when no one's watching, right? And it's like, we live in this world where everyone who, like, our friends and people who aren't in this business, who see us, they only see the front-facing finished product. Yo, that was dope. You were an all-star. You did it. And it's like, yeah, that was dope. But like, what you don't see is me being up till 4 a.m. doing X, Y, and Z, and like all that grinding to get to the glitzy glamour part that looks fun and great to everybody else.
That's why I tell people, especially the youth, don't fall in love with social media culture. And Instagram is just a highlight reel. Right. Mm-hmm. There's so much. Like, how many times did you have to take this photo before you got the right one?
I know. From dealing with Gabby, I know.
Do the Gabby piece. Yeah.
I've been doing this before it was cool on the ground.
Yep. Yeah, but it takes work. It's not overnight. Some people, it can be overnight for some people. That's great, but put in the work, man. Put in the work.
Even for those viral moments, to your point, like if it does happen to someone overnight, that they put in the work to create that content, whether it's one TikTok, the amount of time it takes to learn a dance, even for something as simple as that, let alone building your network and building your craft. Yeah.
How many times
you see it happen naturally, and then they do the behind the back shot and it makes it in. There's a lot of tries that you don't see. And I say that in the vein where I agree with both of you guys, where the hard work pays off, but it's also about the network, right? Mm-hmm. So the dream, especially as a creator, is to surround yourself with like-minded people who want to get creative, try new things, and do it together. I mean, that's what took me out of corporate life and put me more into this field, and I've never been happier. But it's finding people that you work with, finding out what happens behind the scenes, how they work, how they move, and being like, how can I work with them? How can I try them in a new capacity? So I love, Jason, that you talk about going on as a brand ambassador, but there's so much opportunity that can come from anything just from meeting the right people and being at the right place. That can happen a lot more frequently than people think.
Absolutely. And hey, and I'm still open to other things. COVID wiped out my whole calendar. Okay. I was getting ready. I was packing for a trip. And then my client was like, hey, man, we had to cancel it because I was out the weekend before. And, it was weird. We were anticipating it, but it wiped everything out. And, you have to readjust and but also be open to other opportunities. Like, if I can never get in front of a crowd of people and host like that, I'm okay with it, but there are other things I could do. I could get back and manage the event, or be a runner, whatever the case is, be flexible. You got to be flexible in this type of world, like what we do. You got to be flexible, man.
Without question. And I think what COVID has shown for us in this community, hey man, if you can't be agile and pivot quickly, because again, to your point, we've all had this, right? You're covering the NBA, life's going on. Next thing you know, we're shut down for a month. It's like, wait, what? So there's no games? Yeah, no, man, no games to go to, right? And so it's then figuring out, okay, how do I create something? All right, Gabby, let's get on and do this show. You got to be able to be flexible within to keep the momentum going. But we are a sneaker show after all, so we're gonna be back because I know Jason's got some heat he wants to. I mean, the man just flexed and said he was a Jordan Brand flight ambassador. So, I mean, he got to have some heat somewhere hidden. So we'll be back with a little shoe and tell. See you guys in a bit. Peace. What's good, y'all? We're back with our guy, Jason Negron, and we are here for America's #1 segment, Shoe and Tell. Now, Shoe and Tell, usually Gabby and I do stuff, sometimes with our guests, but nah. I told you guys, the man said he was an ambassador for Jordan Brand, so I know he's got some secret heat in that collection. So this is going to be all about Jason. So, my man, the floor is yours. Show us that first shoe.
Appreciate y'all. Although I've been waiting for this moment for a while. I've been waiting for this. Although a lot of my heat's at my mom's house in Staten Island.
All good.
A couple pieces. I love this because I really enjoy, saving the boxes. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite Jordan boxes right here, the silver joints. Mm-hmm. And these came out again. I had them the first time they dropped. This is like the 2013 one. I mean, man, these came out when I was on the N1 tour and I had them and I dogged them. But something about just the way, this blue touches the gray and it's suede over here, but then the 3M dye right here, it's just something about it, 13s are a little big and bulky, but I love them for some reason. They're comfortable, and this one's special to me. Oh, I got married in this shoe, by the way.
Oh, well, there you go. So I'm bearing the lead.
I got married in this shoe, so I keep it, I like to keep it clean. I didn't get the new release, though, which I think I should have, but,
The 13 is one of my favorite silhouettes. Ray Allen used to rock that back in the day when he played. Like, I love that silhouette, man. It's nice. It's a classic.
Great. And I keep it in a lot of my white shoes. I keep them in plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The yellow wing. I like to do that. I gotta go with these. I know I have a lot of these. These are dead stock. The Jordan 1 is my favorite shoe of all time. I mean, they made a lot of these, so I had to get like 3 pairs. Just something. I like the breads or whatever you want to call the bands, whatever. I like those too. But something about blue and like the royal color.
Well, that's speaking to Gabby's heart right now.
Yes. Every Knicks audition, I've worn the royal ones. Every single one.
Yes. I love, like, sometimes Gabby and I would show up with the same kit. Gabby always has some heat.
Same shirt sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Gabby got heat back there.
Gabby got some heat. I see it. But just like what I love about the 1 is that you can rock this with anything. You can rock this with anything. It's a timeless shoe. Like, to me, the Air Force 1, the Dunk, they're all very similar. But something about the sleekness of a Jordan 1 just,
if anybody lists their top 5 of Jordan silhouettes, the 1 is always in everyone's top 5.
It's just, and I'm flat-footed, and usually flat-footed people don't wear ones, but for me, it fits perfectly.
Yeah,
it's comfortable. Yeah. Most of my collection of ones. All right, now this, I'm stepping away. This is a Diadora.
Oh, okay. I used to rock Diadoras back in the day.
Cuban link. Now this is my first trip with a Diadora. Like I'm familiar with them. Like I like a lot of the fashion kicks. Like I used to wear these was heavy. I used to like them a lot, and plus I knew the sample sale spot. I was the sample sale king for a long time until I got locked out of my AOL account. But, they had. Now I was blessed. I've never really waited in line. I had friends who would camp out overnight and days. I never really did that. Now, listen. People from the brands are great. It's great to know all the brand people, store management. That's great. Security is the key to anything.
You're right.
No, the security. So they had this release at SOBs, and I waited online, So these are the Theodora Packer.
Oh, yo, I like those, man. That purple is fresh.
Yeah, if you could see that.
Yeah.
I had to get these because this album, Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon, is my #1 album of all time. I remember I was in Puerto Rico when that album came out. I used to go there for the summer. And I had nothing with me. I had one Mary J. Blige tape, and then I was in the mall. They put it on the table. I was like, oh my God, the Raekwon came out. I didn't even know. This was 1995. Right. You know, there was no internet. Well, there was internet, but it wasn't like.
But not like it is now, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm waiting online with my kind of my stepbrother. You know, my mother's boyfriend's son. They're not married, but he's my stepbrother. And we're waiting, and I'm like, man, this line is too crazy. I ended up seeing my guy, Mikey from Mikey Likes It Ice Cream. He was doing some crazy flavor. He's like, Jay, come on through.
And you said,
I'm like, oh, perfect. Great. So I didn't have to wait in the line, and I got this shoe, and it's just so comfortable. And Raekwon signed it, and I've met him a few times, and he's been nothing but great. But this shoe means so much to me.
Yeah,
they have a red flavor too, which I've never seen, and I would pay for that.
Shout out to the chef, man. Only Built for Cuban Links is that's a fire album.
Oh, it's my everything. And then he says, Knickerbockers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Oh,
yeah, you good. Yeah, you good. You good.
I mean, we're a family show, but we keep it real.
Okay. And he signed it, so this one's great. This is a new one. I like it because it's my team. I love the box on these.
Okay.
And I was able to get the UNC 3s.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna feel some kind of way right now.
And I keep my receipts.
Just in case. I'm an 11. 11.
I got another pair, bro.
Oh, snap. We about to. Oh, my guy.
Yeah. So these, I ended up getting 2. So a lot of the time now, I just go to, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Sneaker Steel.
Yeah.
I go on his thing, and he has all of the links underneath, and I just click, and I just see whichever I get lucky with, and I got 2 pairs of these. And I'm a huge North Carolina Tar Heel fan, even though I'm an SEC guy. I do SEC football in the basketball tournament, but man, these are just so clean.
I mean, look.
That's having a moment.
Yeah, you don't gotta tell me. I mean, first of all, the 3 is my favorite silhouette to begin with, #1. So there's that. Oh. The elephant print, and then there's something about that Carolina blue that is just. Now, we gonna talk offline about me copping that other pair you got. I will say, so PJ Tucker, of course. So you remember when Carolina, when the men's team debuted their 3s, right? But as you know, those are team exclusives. The difference with their shoe is the tongue doesn't have the Jumpman logo. The tongue has the UNC logo on it. BJ, literally that same day, I'm like, how the f did you get this, mother effer? Like, magical, man. and I'm wilding, like, and he's like, yo, man, gotta get what you gotta get.
Who lost their scholarship?
I was gonna say, cause I was like, BJ, come on, bro. Like, he's like, yeah, but that kid's good. Don't worry, he's fine. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Oh man, hold on. I gotta get this other pair. There's a story behind it.
We love stories. Yeah, but Gabby, that it's.
I know. As soon as he said 3s and then the UNC, I was like, Jarod is having a hot flash.
I love the 3s,
Bro,
man.
I'll sell you my size 11s, man.
You see, look at that. That's a good dude right there.
I'm not gonna beat you in the head either, man.
See, the community, people. This is what it's about.
That's what it's about.
All right, I got this and then one last pair, which are my Holies.
Oh.
Now, this shoe is special. My box is a little breaking, but these are the Dave White ones.
Oh.
Now, I have a crazy story about these.
Yo,
these
man.
are so...
He got some heat. I told you.
I know he got heat.
Sexy. Now...
those are... Whew.
So, Jordan, they had, I think, that was the 2012, so maybe I don't remember what shoe it was, but they flew us to Chicago to learn about the shoe, the tech of the shoe, and we're gonna try it on and everything. And it was an early flight. I think it was the red eye. I got there at 8 a.m. So I was like, man, I can't risk missing my flight, man, because that Orlando trip to All-Star, I almost missed my flight. I talked my way in. I don't know how this happened, I didn't have a boarding pass. She let me in.
Wow.
She printed me like a gate pass, and I talked my way in. Anyway.
You gotta talk to Jenna because Jenna needs some tips.
Oh, please, that
Our
girl
Lemon.
That girl will miss every flight.
Trending missing flights at all. I learned that this year because your girl has never missed a flight until she's traveled with Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, Jenna.
Now you know why I travel alone and not with Jenna.
I'm gonna DM Jenna. I'm gonna give her some pointers. So I went out the night before, and I was like, I'm just gonna go straight to the airport. Cool. So I'm dead at this thing, but I'm perky. I'm like, yeah, this is great. They're like, all right, guys, now we're gonna play. I'm like, what you mean? Yeah, we're gonna, you guys are gonna test out the shoes.
You're like, what?
And so there were 7 flight ambassadors. I was the only one who never grew up hooping like that. Like I play
a little pickup ball, and yeah.
But I'm not nice. I'm not gonna front. Like I'm not that guy. I was like, damn, man, they're gonna never realize I'm a fraud. They're like Mike Ross in suits. Like, damn, they get me. So I was like, all right, cool, man. Now, they give us a whole outfit. We're looking fly. I'm like Marlon Wayans in Juice. I'm fly, man. I mean, not Juice. Above the rim. Sorry. And whatever. I'm trying to do a little something. I'm missing layups. I'm missing passes. It was terrible. So, they gave us a speculation. They're like, all right, it was New York against Chicago. Winner gets to pick a shoe of their choice. Cool. So I'm struggling, man. I'm huffing and puffing. Full court game. 4-on-4. It's like, what are we doing? I get the ball somehow. I steal it, and I'm on the other side of the court. All of my teammates are behind me. I'm like, damn, what am I gonna do? I'm at the 3-point line. I'm gonna shoot this shot, and I shoot it, and it's like slow motion, and like everyone's looking like no, and then next thing I know, the ball goes in, and I win the game for us. And everyone's going crazy. It was like the movie that ends perfect. And this was the pair I chose. And at the time they were super limited. I think they only made like 3,000. But they later released them.
Yeah.
And I picked this one. So this was the game-winning shot. They sent me this pair of Jordans. And I like it.
I like it, man.
I love that.
That's
Gotta
dope.
Shoot your shot.
Got to.
Oh,
Shoot, baby.
All right, this is my last one I'm going to show. And these are... I don't know what to do with these.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering if you were going to bust these out.
The Cause 4s. Now, I debated for a long time. What do I do with these? Do I wear them?
Dead stock, livestock.
Yeah, do I just keep them as as a...
Give them to Gabby. She's like, I want them.
You can give that to me if you want. I'll wear like 8 pairs of socks,
I ended up wearing these at a Liberty game at Barclays once. So I only wore them once on the court.
They fire though.
Great.
Yeah, man. They fire.
Sports. I tell you, man, these are a piece of work right here. Just the suede on them, the designs, the little cause, the XX in the back. So this was one of the last loves I got from Jordan Brand. They had an event at Brooklyn College. Now, it got so crazy, they had to do secret pop-ups. The first one was for the satin band one, which I'm a little upset because they were like, hey, man, we're having this pop-up party tonight. You should come by. But they didn't tell me they were selling the shoe early in the day. They just told me to come to the party. I would have had the satin one. And I got the regular band ones. And then, my boy Jeff, shouts to Jeff Chen. He looked out numerous times. He has a new brand, One Less Case, so you can store your mask cleanly. Shouts to him.
Oh, okay.
Like, hey, man, we're having this joint at Brooklyn Museum. Be quiet, come through. So I went through, and it was just wild. Like, everybody was there. And it was weird because, like, Clark Kent was there, and what's my dude? He worked with Pusha T. Oh man, damn, everybody was there, but just waiting. It was like everybody. Now you had to wait. Now you had to like be in the store, and it was just a unique experience. And I got the cause fours, and I'm gonna keep these guys. And
oh yeah.
This is my whole.
That's your ground.
Yeah, I got a couple other joints, but this is the one.
No, those are. Listen, you. The cause fours. Was Tara talking about those on a recent episode, Gabby?
We're talking a little bit about the cause in general.
Okay.
Because I felt like the mainstream didn't catch on to what cause was.
Yep.
And now that the art is all trendy, they're partnering with Uniqlo, cause is out there more. When those came out,
no one knew about cause like that.
If you know, you know. If you don't, you definitely don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
I'm just.
Go ahead.
I was blessed enough to get a pair. I was just blessed enough, man.
And you mentioned, Jason, like that's how this stuff happens, right? Like your man called you and said, "Yo, don't say nothing, just come." Like, right? Like that's how to get those exclusive things. That's how that works. Like you either are on the list where you're getting seated those things, or your man calls you or your girl calls you and says, "Yo, come through, don't say shit." And it's like, all right, like, and literally when they're very clear about don't say, all right, yeah. Somebody asks you, "Yo, man, where you going tonight?" Nowhere. Like you just like, I ain't doing nothing.
And they asked me to make announcements too, without I did that. I was like, all right, I'll do that for you. You did that for me, all right, cool.
Yeah, man.
It's it was a blessing. I don't get those packages anymore, but once in a blue I'll get something. But I'm not really. I don't ask. If I get, I get.
Yeah. And it's your point that you made earlier was so well though. Like once now. When you get a FedEx package, FedEx emails you that day, expect the package, right? Now, I mean, when you order stuff and when you expect stuff to get here. The best is when you get that email, FedEx shipment coming. You're like, I ain't order shit. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And you open it up and you see Memphis and you're like, I know what this is.
FedEx is in Memphis too, so yeah.
You're like, I know what this is. No, it's
Gabby, you're coming up, Gabby.
Gabby, don't worry.
I don't know what that is.
Don't worry, Gabby.
Gabby, don't worry.
Don't worry.
I'm in it for the long game.
It's coming. But Jason, man, we appreciate having you on, man. Tell the people where can they find you.
Hey, man, y'all can, I'm on the Instagrams. Jason Negron, Negron. Mi gente, MySpace too. Y'all can find me not there. I'm not there.
He said mi gente. Nope, can't find me.
I'm not there. If y'all want to hit me, I'm keeping it super low. I decided to, personally, I kept a low profile socially just because it started of COVID, and then with all the social unrest, I just wanted to keep the low profile. But I may have, depending on how this election goes, I may have some November coming soon.
Oh.
See.
Stay tuned. Lo, man, it was a pleasure having you on. Guys, you know where to find us. Right. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher. New episodes drop every Monday at 7footers Pod. Jesus.
Oh,
look at that. Look at I got so many shows. I'm like
I was about to say that. I was about to say, how many shows does this guy have? He had all the shows.
Tune into 7footers.
Yes.
Some other stuff.
Right.
You can hear Jarod talk all about his love for his man's KD. But right here, we are at Kicks and Shit Show.
However, at Kicks and Shit Show on Instagram, Twitter, you know where to find us. At JS Hector, at Gabby Rosenthal. And we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.